Well, guys, so this is how the Sony Spider-Man-less cinematic universe ends. They have had enough. We've had enough. And I've got a lot to say about Kraven the Hunter. Let's talk about it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was excited to see this movie. Despite what's been happening with the Sony Spider-Man movies, I still have expectations. I still like Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I still like Russell Crowe. Still want my superhero movies to be great. And this one has Oscar, Academy Award winning talent behind it and in front of it. And yet they still manage to blow it.
When the man comes around.
Now, is this movie the worst of the Spider-Man cinematic universe? No. I'm going to give that one to Madam Web and Morbius with a close tie. That one was absolute dog. That movie sucked. Aaron Taylor-Johnson has moments in this movie. He is pretty good, and he is shredded. Shredded. I actually enjoyed the opening scene. It was pretty good. The first 10 minutes of the movie were a very good intro to this character. Also, the origin story of the superhero powers was a big chunk of the movie. You know, when Kraven was a child, and it shows his relationship with Russell Crowe. That was a good part of the movie, but it did run about 30 minutes.
Who's next?
And that's about it. I liked Aaron Taylor-Johnson. He's shredded. He's a good actor. He's pretty decent. I wouldn't say he's the next James Bond, but I did like him in this movie. And I like the fact that they made this movie rated R. They went ahead and made it violent. There's blood, but it's digital blood. However, I did really appreciate it that we could actually try to replicate what Deadpool and Wolverine did. And I also really appreciated that they made this movie rated R because Kraven is a violent villain. He does use knives and guns and anything at his disposal to freaking violently murder and kill his prey. And the action scenes were pretty good too, guys. The intro was good. And of course, you saw the big action scene with Rhino in the trailers. And that was pretty decent too. So this movie's action wasn't that bad. Now let's talk about the negatives. Right away, the plot of this movie is so wrong. If you know anything about Kraven, he's been around since the 1960s in the comic books. And he is the best hunter in the world. And he hunts big game, tigers and lions and gorillas and everything. And he gets tired of that. So he decides to hunt the biggest game of all, which is Spider-Man. However, in this movie, he's just trying to be the opposite of his father. His father's a gangster. He's merciless. He's a huge prick. He kills animals. So in this movie, Kraven is trying to kill the poachers. He's trying to avenge the animals, which makes no sense because he doesn't care about the animals either. So I'm sitting there in the theater and I'm like, this guy should work for PETA because this movie version of Kraven is the opposite of the comic book version. Another big issue for me was the ADR. For those of you who don't know what ADR is, that's when they reshoot the audio because the audio quality on the film is really noisy or it's unclear. So they go back into a sound studio and they shoot the ADR.
He's supposed to be dead. I am responsible.
What are we doing this 2024? You still can't match good audio to what we see on film. Come on, guys. Might sound like I'm nitpicking, but it's a big issue and it's a huge distraction in the movie. Also, you have actors like Russell Crowe phoning it in. He is a tier 1 level actor and he's just doing this phony Russian accent. He's become like everybody's dad in Hollywood, but like that drunken jerk dad. Another distraction for me was the actress who played Calypso. She just wasn't that good, or maybe it's not her, maybe it was the direction. Didn't really like her performance either, and it kind of, again, took me out of the movie. A lot of people have issues with the way Rhino is designed. Sadly, I've gotten used to this horrible CGI in movies that it didn't bother me, even though it should. Like if this movie was made back in 2010, it would have been, really good and, done well. However, now I've seen so many movies with great CGI and movies like these Sony movies with horrible CGI, and I've gotten used to it. Like I'm just giving them a pass. And as I sit here now, I don't want to give them a pass. Now, Sony did announce that this is the last villain Spider-Man-less movie that they were going to make. They did Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven, and the 3 Venom movies. So that's 6 movies. None of them are great at all. If it wasn't for the first Venom movie, it wouldn't have launched the rest of these disastrous Sony movies. So it's good that we had these Venom movies, but at the same time, it really just watered down the superhero genre. And it's really not a good time to be doing that because the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Phase 4 and the shows, it's just A huge cluster of all the movies. So Kraven the Hunter had some good action, but a terrible plot and storyline, and some phoned in performances from these actors. And that's why I'm giving Kraven the Hunter,
No, don't do it!
a C-.
You blew it!
Or a 73 if you're a numbers guy. Anyways, guys, so what do you think about the Sony villain movies that have come out? The 6 movies, including the Venom trilogy, Kraven, Madam Web, and Morbius. Which one is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? If you like what you saw here, guys, please subscribe and like the channel. Comment below, what did you think about today's topic? And as always, guys, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. God bless, and we will see you on the next one.